It's been 4 months since the release of Counter-Strike 2, and we're still finding various hidden files and mechanics that did not make it into the final game. The animations of the characters suffered the most. Right now, there are about 500 different agent animations in CS2 that give us hints about possible future content or how Counter-Strike 2 was supposed to look at release. Today we'll take a look at the most interesting animations that the developers deprived us of, and that we may see in the future updates. The first is additional agent animations that could drastically change their perception by the player. Various twitches, facial expressions, and transitions from one body position to another. For example, now when idle, the player model stands almost motionless and all she does is blink. However, with additional animations enabled, when idle, the player model would start nervously shuffling her feet, stretching, taking small steps back and forth, and possibly even interacting with the weapon in her hands in some way. It becomes clear when examining the files. Each weapon type has 2 different behavior animations assigned. The second, there was a full animation of exiting the stairs while standing and crouching, unlike what we have now, where the character simply transitions from one state to another. The alternative running animation of an agent with a knife in hand was also lost. Variations of throwing objects, an enhanced animation of an even longer grenade throw, and smoother turns of the character gone. The developers also cut out the full swimming animation for agent in water. Although there is not much to regret here, since there is not really anywhere to swim in CS2 and fighting from a pool is not much fun anyway. What is really unfortunate is the removal of additive hit animations for characters in motion. Currently, a neutral hit animation is used on the player, but with the cut animations when hit, the model could bend or shift more to the side, allowing the player to identify their position to the enemy, behind a pillar, crate, door, etc. That's probably why they got rid of these animations, but on the other hand, it would have introduced noticeable changes in gameplay compared to CSGO, and not just in graphics. The beta had 180-degree character turn animation, probably analogs to Resident Evil, but it's unclear whether this was a test animation or originally planned as a feature. Trying to emulate the Dark Souls series, the developers initially planned to add taunting animations to the game, both for the end of the round and just during gameplay. There are 3 animation files for characters in the game. The first is responsible for all the animations displayed by the character in the game menu, as well as those we see at the start of the round and at the end. The second and third are responsible for CT and T gameplay. So in the beta version, some test animations responsible for the equipment displayed in the menu were in the gameplay folder, which calls into question many assumptions and speculations. Speaking of equipment animations, a lot of them were also cut out, which is a pity because some look quite funny, and they were used either for testing or were originally planned for the game until the beta release, as developers typically create a lot of animations for subsequent selection of just a few. The co-op animations were also repressed. They look at least interesting. The adrenaline use animation is gone, although its mechanic is present. There was also supposed to be an interesting interaction animation with hostages. They cut the end of the round animation that does not belong to any specific agent, in which the character tosses a clip, does a somersault, and catches it with a pistol. Let me know in the comments your opinion on the current state of Counter-Strike, and what would you like to see in the future. Thank you all, and until next time, friends.